to start off with a little warm up just to kind of get you going again, because I'm not quite sure how long everybody else hasn't moved for, but it's been a while for us. So we're just going to throw on music. We're playing the music through the computer, so we can't talk over it. You won't hear that. So, but we wanted you to hear the music well. So we're going to put music on, just follow him along. He's going to face you. You're going to get my best side. I'll turn around so you can follow me as well. And it's just going to be kind of a nice, easy thing for your body. Don't push yourself. Don't strain yourself. Just kind of start getting yourself moving.
Yeah, know your limits and listen to your body. If you haven't moved much today, sometimes you can't quite push your neck as far, your ribs as far. So just listen to your body and follow along.
Yeah, okay, so
I'm gonna throw the music on. I think. Please.
Baby, I like your style.
Grips on your waist, front way, back way. You know that I don't play. Streets not safe, but I never run away, even when I'm away. OT, OT, there's never much love when we go OT. I pray to make it back in one piece. I pray, I pray. That's why I need a one dance. Got a Hennessy in my hand. One more time before I go. Higher powers taking a hold on me. I need a one dance. Got a Hennessy in my hand. One more time before I go. Higher powers taking a hold on me.
Baby, I like your style.
Strength and guidance, all that I'm wishing for my friends. Nobody makes it from my ends. I had to bust up the silence. You know you gotta stick by me. Soon as you see the text, reply me. I don't wanna spend time fighting. We got no time, and that's why I need a one dance. Got a Hennessy in my hand. One more time before I go. Higher powers taking a hold on me. I need a one dance. Got a Hennessy in my hand. One more time before I go. Higher powers taking a hold on me.
Down, I'll take it slow, make you lose control. Wet, 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 wet. 'Cause if you're down, 'cause if you're down, 'cause if you're down.
I need a one dance. Got a Hennessy in my hand. One more time before I go. Higher powers taking a hold on me. I need a one dance. Got a Hennessy in my hand. One more time before I go. Higher powers taking a hold on me.
All right, so now that we got our blood pumping and we're moving a little bit, we're gonna talk about texture today. We're going to talk about mostly smooth versus soft texture.
Smooth versus hard.
Smooth versus hard.
Smooth is soft.
Smooth is soft. Wow, see, out of practice.
Yeah, so we're focusing basically on the concept of legato movement versus staccato movement, right? Soft versus sharp. I like to use the image of the guy outside the car dealership that just kind of does this in the air all the time as my kind of like softer, flowier idea. Sharp would be anything that's a little bit more, militant, obviously TikTok type-esque movement.
So we're going to start off talking about the smooth, the soft. That's why I had that in my head. And we're going to talk about just kind of taking each shape into the next movement. So I like to practice this solo, which kind of works perfect. So if you don't have a partner, go ahead and break up. You can apply all of this to your regular dancing. But I always think about not ending one movement before starting another. I want it to bleed into each pattern or each movement. So I think about starting with something like my head. And if I'm gonna take my head and I'm gonna look to the right, I'm not gonna just turn. I'm probably gonna go and turn. Then I let it travel through my shoulders. So I'm gonna go from head, look, shoulders. And then I'm gonna rotate my ribs. And then my hips, then my knees. And then I'm gonna take my head first the other way, then shoulder, then rib, then hip, then knee, and back. I never want my whole body moving as one unit. I want to think softer, big image. Something else that I use a lot with this is my arms. So I want my arms to constantly flow in every direction. So we're just going to take our arms, we're going to move them back. We're going to move them forward. And I want you to kind of bleed the end point. At no point should you stop and redirect. I want you to think about molding and moving into each pattern. So there's almost a certain flow. Then I can do the same thing when I turn my body again, try the other way. Arms, out, forward, back, head first, then rest of your body, follow through with the arm. So this is just kind of taking the same breakdown as we used for our warm-up by splitting the body up into different sections. And I'm just kind of moving my transitions. When I would apply this in my West Coast swing is I would think about finishing one movement and then letting it bleed into the next. So if I'm doing this on an anchor and I'm going to start like turning my body out, I'm also going to start thinking about turning a different part of my body. So my head is starting to go left, my ribs and my chest are still going right, and then I move into my next movement. Same thing if I wanted to go here, and then I'm ready to start turning everything else out. I start with one piece and I let it travel down the body.
I know a lot of times people also include body rolls into like a softer type movement. A lot of people don't feel comfortable doing body rolls. I know some of you just don't quite like feel like your body can make them work, but you don't have to do an entirely full body roll. If you want to get the same idea, you can always just move those two pieces that Matt was talking about earlier between like your ribs and your hips, right? So you can move, if you think about moving your ribs and then your hips and then your ribs and then your hips. And if you just try to kind of smooth that out, ribs, hips, that's already starting to get that kind of side body roll look. That's also now like the popular West Coast swing look, right? When people kind of take that weeble wobble backwards. You see a lot of, especially leaders doing that these days. Followers tend to originate more things from their hips. When I'm switching back and forth between leading, I usually think leaders ribs, followers hips. Don't quote me on that. Lots of people may disagree, that's fine. But as a follower, I'm doing more things here. As a leader, I'm kind of
using the upper body, living
in that space. Another thing I like that I've stolen from a teacher, and I don't remember who, so whoever it was really good advice. When you're moving your arm, a lot of times we'll tell people like, oh, do something with your arm, and you just see people like use an arm, right? Always try to initiate it from your ribs if you can. So try to start practicing moving from here or from here before you move the limbs. So instead of just throwing the arm up, and in the example Matt was doing, it made me think of it, he moved his rib and then his arm, and then his rib and then his arm. So if you're gonna try that exercise, think about making something happening from here first, and then let that follow through into a limb. You can even do it with your hip. Like you can move your hip and then your leg, or you could even put your leg out and then pull into your hip, right? So the idea is just kind of that constant flowy connection thing. Very technical term that we're going with here. Music?
Yeah, let's try some music, and we're going to try some of these softer movements. Now remember, you don't want to put a period at the end of every sentence or every move. You want it to bleed into the next movement and continue on. So we'll kind of demonstrate, and we want you to just kind of watch and then follow along as best as you can.
Yeah, you're just gonna move along with us. Don't feel like an idiot because everyone's doing it and most of you have your cameras off. So pretty much everyone's just watching us look like idiots, and that's totally fine. That's why we're here.
Try something weird, try something unusual. I know when I do this, sometimes I make a choice and I go, oh, that wasn't great, but I'll do better next time.
Yeah, and if you don't have anything, just pick one body part. My mom used to do this a lot when I was a kid in her classes. Just literally say, move your shoulders, which I think my mom's in here somewhere. Or you could just move your hips, or you could say like, I'm just gonna move my head slowly and softly, and that counts, right? But we're gonna be here to give you lots of ideas and we'll do a bunch of stuff. So we're gonna do one song. We just want you to move as smoothly and softly as you can, kind of like you're in water, and then we'll go from there.
Music.
Yeah.
I got you.
I don't know what song you want to use. Also, it's Matt's computer and it's fancier than mine, so sometimes things disappear.
You and me, we made a vow, for better or for worse. I can't believe you let me down, but the proof's in the way it hurts. For months on end, I've had my doubts, denying every tear. I wish this would be over now, but I know that I still need you here. You say I'm crazy, 'cause you don't think I know what you've done. But when you call me baby, I know I'm not the only one.
Okay, very nice. Good, good, good. I kind of I snuck in here because I wanted to watch the couple people that have videos on. That was really nice. One question that we get a lot from students, or we used to get a lot from students a year ago, is if you don't know the song, how are you musical? We get this all the time. A lot of times our students have real jobs and don't listen to music 24/7 or haven't been doing this for 20 years. You don't have to know the lyrics, right? Most of us actually don't. Very funny story. I usually don't know the lyrics to my own routine songs. This happens to me all the time. You don't need to know the lyrics. The idea is you want to know the tone of the lyrics. Is it going up? Is it coming down? Is it stretching? Is it stopping? Right? And if you can just kind of pull those things out, you can use the same exercise to just follow the lyrics. We could use the last song or any other song and just kind of move when the lyrics are moving. And that's going to start making you look like you know the song without knowing the song. So that's like,
Yeah, something else that I was thinking about while I was doing this, a lot of it has to do with the shaping of the movement. So I try to make everything when it's smoother a little bit longer, a little more drawn out, and a little more like circular. I'm not going to think to myself like quick stops or anything that's going to be short or fast. Everything's going to be a little bit more rotational, a little bit more rounded edges.
yeah. And then if we go into the opposite, so the more staccato type movement, really we're just thinking about quick, sharp movements, right? If any of you have ever done any kind of like twitching classes or any kind of start-stop movement, one of the best pieces of advice I can give you is almost kind of taking a breath and then letting the air out quickly. If you've ever done martial arts, there's a whole thing when you're like punching or boxing that when you go to actually do the jab, you're actually tensing your core. So it kind of has that start-stop feeling to it. Similar in this, I mean, you don't have to get super tense, that's not the idea, but you have this kind of little tick to whatever you're doing. So instead of the softer idea, the idea is you're just trying to get it to stop. And I do that by a small contraction of my muscles to just get that tick to happen, right? And it can be wherever you want it to be, super easy joints. You can start trying to actually break parts of your body apart to start all those kind of popping and locking things. I'm not amazing at them, but you can fake it. All you have to do in West Coast Swing is fake it, trust me. So the idea is, okay, maybe you just want to like raise your hand and drop it, and you just want to do that. Or you just want to like move your shoulder in and out. That's totally fine. Matt brought up looking. That's great. You can just look left quickly, hit a break, and win first place. We've literally seen this happen before. Yeah.
The power of a look
Mm-hmm.
is really good.
Yeah, no, it's great. So the idea is that you want to attach these staccato movements to staccato sounds in the music. Now, where do you find those? Beats. It's the easiest thing you can ever do, right? anytime there's a beat in the music, usually it is hitting pretty hard, and that's how we know, oh, that's where we're stepping, tripling, whatever. So when you hear those beats or those ticks, you could literally just use that motion over and over again on the beats of the music, and now you're hitting staccato things. You could do it with your knee, something like a simple knee pop, or just bringing it out. You can use it with both knees. You could use it with a tap or a kick is also a staccato type movement, yeah? So we're gonna put on the same song that we just did, because we might as well. And now instead of focusing on like the soft flowy aspect, all I want you to do is either try and hit the beats in the music, or if you hear an instrument, maybe like a drum or a cymbal or something that kind of hits hard, we're just gonna focus on hitting those harder movements. And I don't really care if you end up looking like this, like that's totally fine.
We'll do it.
Yeah, we'll do it. The idea is I just want you to kind of have that start, stop feeling no matter what you're doing. You can also just like literally open your hand. That works too.
All right, let's give this a try.
You've been so unavailable. Now sadly I know why. Your heart is unobtainable, even though God knows you kept mine. You say I'm crazy, 'cause you don't think I know what you've done. But when you call me baby, I know I'm not the only one. I have loved you for many years. Maybe I am just not enough. You've made me realize my deepest fear. But
Okay, nice, very good. Very good. So the idea is that we're just focusing on those movements. Now, would we ever tell you to dance one of these ways for 3 minutes long to a song in West Coast Swing? Definitely not.
No.
You'd look really weird. Yeah, so this is not something we want you to do consistently, but the idea is that they're spices, right? They're additions to what you're doing, a little salt and pepper to throw in. Height is a really big one. You might feel kind of silly, like bending over, practicing this, but like, can you just do a sugar push real quick? First sugar push I've done in 5 months. How many people have you seen do sugar pushes where the followers do these types of things, right? Well, they do a lot of collapsing motion. So it's okay to start using the space that's down and around you to start trying to figure out like, how do I want to move to this?
Height is a very important part of texture, as well as like just shifting your angles. I mean, even with what she said earlier about taking a look, I can just take one foot back more than the other and then back forward, and all of a sudden it looks more dynamic and has more dimension.
Mhm. So now what we want to do is we'll play a different song so we don't get tired of this one. And what I want you to do is decide if you're going to be sharp or if you're going to be soft. And you can just use the same body part. So if you just want to use your shoulders and maybe just move them smoothly, or up, down, sharply, that's totally fine. But the idea is that you're going to switch back and forth. I don't want you to stick in either one longer than 8 counts, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, whatever, right? So I just kind of flip flop back and forth. You could do the same thing with one arm and then make it move sharp, whatever you want. But we're just going to play a little back and forth. Again, you won't hear us, so just think to yourself, when you think you've been doing it about 8 counts, switch over and try something else. If you want to switch back and forth sooner, like every 1 count, every 4 counts, that's great too. What song is that?
You could bet that, never gotta sweat that. You could bet that, never gotta
If you
sweat
be
that.
the cash, I'll be the rubber band. You'll be the match, I will be a fuse. Boom, painter, baby, you could be the muse. I'm the reporter, baby, you could be the news. 'Cause you're the cigarette, and I'm the smoker. We raise the bet, 'cause you're the joker. Chipped off, you are the chalk. And I could be the blackboard, you can be the top. And I can be the one, yeah, when the sky comes falling. Even when the sun don't shine, I got faith in you and I. Put your pretty
gotta sweat that. You could bet that, never gotta sweat that. You could bet that.
Very nice. That's really good. Cool. Okay. Good. So now the idea is once you get more comfortable with all this solo movement, and you'll learn all this kind of stuff in like line dances and other types of classes that you're taking from teachers where they're going to give you specific ways of moving. Now we have to put that into our West Coast swing. And that's the hard part because it's really easy to kind of move your body and it's usually really easy to move your feet. But when we start moving our body and moving our feet, this is where people start having problems.
Panic attack.
Yeah, it starts to be a little overwhelming. I will tell you, if you're focusing on body, it's kind of good to shut down your syncopations. So I will say, like, I wouldn't do and step and kickball change while I'm trying to do wiggle, body roll. It's just
A lot to look at all at once.
too much. So that's why you see a lot of people that they'll do holds, like they'll kind of freeze their feet and do a body motion or do them over their walks. But you don't see like super fast feet with super fast body at the same time. So you kind of separate those. But the idea right now is we need to put things together, right? So you can move your body, even if it's just a little side to side. Now we're gonna do it while moving our feet. And this is the hardest exercise usually my students have to go through. It can hurt a little, but it's gonna be good for you. So to start, what I want you to think about is on the music, you're gonna step every other count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You're literally just stepping halftime, right? Super slow. While you're doing that, I just want you to start doing a rib cage circle or maybe a hip circle. Or you can make it really simple and just kind of roll your shoulders. So while you're stepping, I just want you to roll your shoulders. If you're super advanced with body motion, you could actually do like a body roll the entire time. I don't really care, but you need to be moving your body. Then after you're doing halftime for about a phrase, we're going to single time. So step, 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 step on every beat. And while you're doing that, now I need you to move your body as well. So you can't stop your feet just because now we're trying to make something happen up top. And then you might have guessed it, but the last piece is we're going to do triple steps on time. And while you're doing the triple steps, I want you to try and do something up top as well. If that moves your triples around a little bit, totally acceptable for now. I will take it. But the idea is that we're starting to kind of sandwich both these things on top of each other. If you get to that point, you're like, oh, I've totally got this. Then obviously at home, take a 6 or an 8 count rhythm and then start doing your walk, walk, triple step, walk, walk, triple step, and see if you can start piecing all those things.
If that feels super overwhelming and you need to, if you want to try it with us a little bit and you're like, I'm going to go back to the every other beat, great.
Totally fine.
It's a great starting point. We just only have 30 minutes, so we want to throw it all at you so you can take this and apply it to your dancing later tonight.
Yeah, so I'm going to throw the music. I'm going to halftime. You'll see after a bit, I'm going to start speeding up. I'm going to single time. And then at some point, I'm just going to start doing triples and you can kind of just play along with us. Yeah, whatever song you got. Oh, 2 minutes. Yes.
We're killing.
We're on it. I have no idea who's next.
Just
Was it
the guitar.
Creature next?
I think that's what I heard.
This was all you, none of it.
Start, you can make
You
it
put
as
your hands on my body and told me. You told me you were ready for the big one, for the big jump. I'd be your last love, everlasting, you and me. That was what you told me. I'm giving you up, I'm forgiving it all. You set me free. Send my love to your new lover. Treat her better. Gotta let go of all of our goals. We both know we ain't kids no more. Send my love to your new lover. Treat her better. Gotta let go of all of our goals. We both know we ain't kids no more. I was too strong, you were trembling, you couldn't